Welcome to Atlanta Estimator and our first in a series of lessons on PlanSwift. The goal is to get you familiar with PlanSwift, how it's used in a daily routine for an estimator like myself, and then from the basics we'll get into the advanced lessons on actually how to create templates and assemblies so you can really take the power of PlanSwift to a new level. So let's get today's first lesson, which is basically going to be an overview. It'll probably be 10 to 15 minutes in length. It'll give you the basics of what's on the screen and kind of a how we go from here kind of thing. After that, we'll actually start getting into making new projects or jobs and how to import plans and go through all the things that you need to know to use PlanSwift as your estimating tool in your daily routine. So let's get to it. All right, in our first lesson on PlanSwift Basics, we're basically going to go over the interface. This is basically to show you where things are in PlanSwift, and as we go into future more advanced features of that, where those features are found. So if we skip over something a little bit, it's only because we're going to come back to it in future session. All right, let's get started. When you bring up PlanSwift, you very likely will get to this splash screen by PlanSwift. If you're on 10.3 whatever, I think I'm on 10.35. This is basically what comes up when there isn't a job already loaded. So the good thing about this is it does show you their training resources, their user guide, tutorial videos, and training webinars. And I will tell you, it takes you to the YouTube channel. I tell you, they are worth going through. I think when I first got started, I watched every PlanSwift video I could get my hands on. So let's close this down. Getting past the splash screen, I usually am always going to the Home tab first. You'll spend most of your time in the Home tab. So if you go to the Home tab, you'll see that there's nothing loaded and most of the icons are not available. And that's the reason that is because there's no job load. There's nothing for the icons to do. So the first decision you make when you open PlanSwift is, am I going to start a new job? And you're going to click on the new icon. Or am I going to open an existing job? Well, in this session, we're not going to go into creating a new job. That's going to be our next session, and we're going to walk you through step by step how to create a new project and import plans. This one is an overview. So we're going to bring up a job we have already. Just going to go and click on that and say Open Job. And usually it opens up pretty quick. We do recommend you storing your products locally. In fact, PlanSwift, their local directory by default is on your PC, and there is a performance lag if you decide to work these to do takeoffs from a server. Not say you can't do it off a server, but I've noticed a performance lag, so I prefer to have the files local as I'm working on them, and then I can copy or back them up to the server. So what are we seeing? Besides the main screen here where we're seeing a sheet, it usually comes up on the first sheet that's in your list, and the list being off to the left here, what they call pages. This whole window here is set up and is customizable. Mine might be a little different from yours and might be a little different from the PlanSwift defaults, but this is all user customizable. So you can drag these things and put them wherever you want to. You don't like it on the left side, put it on the right side. You like the box a different size, you like the bookmarks a different place. Just remember, all these things that you're seeing, these windows or these boxes, are customizable. You can set them up and put them wherever you want. So that being said, my pages and bookmarks on the left side. So as you go through here, you'll see as the page you're on will be kind of highlighted. So if I click on that, that's highlighted. Even if I come off of it, they still highlight. So that highlight will tell you which job you're on, which is displaying on the screen. It should match up. Past that, you will notice that if you've got takeoff items in your list, you'll see a plus or minus icon next to it that you can basically expand or collapse. That basically tells you you've got takeoff items there, and other things may display like, are you showing notes, or are you showing, are all your items visible, and is the plan scaled? So this is basically a list of not only the drawings you've got loaded, but it's going to show you individual takeoff items under each plan. And that's really, for this session, all you need to know about it. That's where you find your sheets or your drawings. Down below it, I'm going to click on this first one called Demo Notes. That's a bookmark series. That's kind of like a quick view to a sheet. It could be an item in the sheet, not necessarily the whole sheet, because you see as I back up here, it right away it just zoomed right in. So it's kind of like saving a view that you want to be able to get back to, because maybe it's a particular note, maybe it's a schedule, maybe it's a table, something you need to have access to quickly and you don't have to go and find it. So you create a bookmark. We're going to do a whole session on bookmarks. So attachments and notes we're not going to worry about in this session. Let's go to the right. Takeoff summary. Now this just happens to be showing right now what I'm in. It's showing what I've taken off, not for the sheet, but for the total job. So think about it, as you take off things, it's going to make this list in takeoff summary, and it's going to show you every item you take off, and to the most part, what it's accumulated to. In other words, if I've taken off 4-inch slab on grade across several sheets, it's going to show me my total slab on grade plus any other items. In this case, these are assemblies, and a lot of these, and that's for another session too. Think of it this way. I go to a new sheet and I want to take off 4-inch slab on grade again. I could go to a templates, or I could create it from scratch, or I could just go to my takeoff summary and say, I've already created that once, let's do that again. And right here you see I got 4-inch slab on grade. I can click on this button, which will turn red, and I'm now taking off 4-inch slab on grade on whatever sheet I'm on. Yeah. If I haven't created any items yet, and I'm going to templates, I want to use an item that I previously created and saved as a templates, down here at the bottom, templates, parts, and inputs, that brings up my templates window. And that allows me to pick what template set I'm using, and you can have multiple template sets. You could have template sets for civil, structural, architectural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing. You could have different templates and have them under different things. Especially if you, like me, I literally have hundreds of templates. So I have a lot of different template groups, along with dozens and dozens of templates under any one group. So these are the templates I created just for training, and they're just a small subset that I have normally for concrete estimating or demolition estimating that we're going to use in our training series. So that's, if I want to create a new one, that's where that would go to. If I want to create one from scratch, then I would be going to my basic items, my PlanSwift items, and creating an area, a linear, a segment, a count, whatever that might be. And we're going to go into that as well during our when we get into our takeoff basics. Don't get too worried about this, because we're going to go into depth on over a series of multiple videos of how these work and how you're choosing them off your list as you create them. So the way I've got it set up right now, the right side is my templates and takeoff summary. The left side is my sheets, my drawings, and my bookmarks. At the bottom, you'll see things like scale page, basically a numeric equivalent of where the mouse is, kind of like AutoCAD, it tracks where the mouse goes. Features you may have clicked on and off, like snap, ortho, freehand, verify points, which we'll go into. Where this file is stored, this actual sheet, where this drawing is stored at on your PC. And then things like auto scroll and network status that you're connected. I'll tell you that for authenticating your license, you do have to be on a network or connected to the internet. All right, that's the basics of my layout, and you can save your layouts, just so you know. If you like a layout a certain way and you're worried about losing it, you can save your layouts and name them and have different layouts for different kinds of takeoff. Now, this is my layout, and you could make yours any way you want to. All right, we're going to go into looking at 2 tabs today. The other tabs are going to be in other sessions. We're going to concentrate on the Home tab and the Estimating tab. And that's where you're going to spend, I promise you, 90% of your time in PlanSwift is going to be on one of those tabs. So if you're not already clicked on Home tab, click on the Home tab and you'll see the different features across there. So let's just go across them real quick. Obviously new, if we were creating a new job, that's what we click on that. Open, if we want to open another job, we would click on that. Printing, for printing out your takeoffs and what you're seeing visually here. It's not a report. It's not your estimating spreadsheet. It's for printing out your takeoff as you see it on the screen, and you can decide what features you show on those takeoffs. Emailing a job, another session. Zoom, fitting page, zoom in, zoom out, and panning. All about how getting around in PlanSwift and using those features, and we're going to go over that in takeoff. Scaling a drawing, we're going to do that in our next session of creating a new job, and because you can't do a takeoff if the drawing's not scaled. Doing dimensioning, and then the basic takeoffs, area, linear, segment, count, all the different features and different types of takeoffs you can do in those 4 great, powerful tools. What the single click does. Sending data, digitizing records, new session, markups. So we're going to do a whole session on markups and why that's important. Before you even get started in takeoffs, why marking up your drawings and making notes can be so critical to an successful takeoff. And then what image overlay and annotations does. So we'll do that in our takeoff sessions. And there'll be a several takeoff sessions where we get into each one of these PlanSwift takeoff features and show you how to use them and annotate them. So that's the basics of what's available in the Home tab. Like I said, we'll spend more time in the Home tab than any other tab in PlanSwift. The other 25% of the time, or should I say, 75% of the time you'll be in the Home tab, and other 25% of the tab between those two, you're going to be in the Estimating tab. And why is that? As you can see here, as you're creating your takeoffs and your takeoff has assigned cost, this is where the costs accumulate, and in a spreadsheet type program show you what you've got in whatever order or detail that you created your takeoff. In my case, I use assemblies and templates, so they create what I call parent and child relationships here. The parent being like this parent here being demo 12-inch CMU. Well, the dumpsters, the cuts, and the chainsaws were all created automatically as part of the assembly. I simply took off the wall. It did the rest. And that's where the power is in PlanSwift, is in templates and assembly. Think of a template as just being something you do and you reuse. An assembly is something that you do, you take it and you can reuse it, but it also generates other information, other data, other costs. That's what an assembly does. So we're going to show later on how to create something you've taken off, how to take that and create it into a template, and then later on take those templates and put them into assemblies. We're going to go through all that with you step by step. By the time you get through our PlanSwift basically training sessions, both the basic and advanced, you'll know how to do what you're seeing right here. I promise you. But you can create your own template, your own columns, and you can have it create show whatever data. And this isn't all the data PlanSwift is basically tracking. This is the data you are using for creating your proposal or your cost. So in my case, this is the items I need to see for evaluating this job in a cost perspective, and then exporting it, and then creating my proposal, which we'll get into later on. So you'll when you're evaluating how your job is doing cost-wise, this is where you're going to be. Otherwise, you're going to be spending your time in the Home tab. We'll be spending time together in the Home tab. So I think that's all for now. In our next session, we're going to go into the new and actually how to create a job from scratch. If you're following along with this, you'll need to have some plans downloaded somewhere, your own drive, a network drive, a thumb drive, doesn't matter for importing. And then you can follow along. You can stop the video as you need to, and you can see how we create a job from scratch, how we scale the drawings, and we get ready for the takeoff. See you next time.